All right, let's do this. God, way too much coffee. Let's do this. My computer broke, so I will be using this. I don't even have index cards. I don't know why I don't have index cards, but now I have color-coded cards that will remind me what I'm supposed to be talking about. Otherwise, I'll ramble like I'm doing right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Learning and Laughing. My name is Jesse. I'm super excited for this week's video because we're really getting into the core of what this channel is about, which is asking the question, how do we approach learning more consciously? As many of you know, I love reading, I love books, and I often get questioned about book recommendations. Now, these questions are hard to answer because it often depends on what the person wants to learn or what the person wants to get out of a book. Are you looking for a life-changing book? Are you looking for a book that'll change your views on certain things? Are you looking for a very tactical book on how to do something or how to learn something or how to approach a new topic? This week, we're looking specifically at books on learning. There's people walking by. Don't worry, gentlemen, I'm just here talking to myself. So here we are, How to Learn Anything, 3 books. Now, before we dive in, a little bit about these books. All 3 are very powerful tools and they can change the way that you see life in general. What makes them so powerful for me is that they turn very abstract and sometimes aloof ideas into very actionable and concrete concepts. Book number 1 is The 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss. This is one of the most useful books that I've ever read in my life. And recently my girlfriend asked me if I could only take one book from my entire library, which one would it be? And this one was my response. I know it's called The 4-Hour Chef, but it's not just about cooking. It's really what it says on the front cover, which is the simple path to cooking, learning anything, and living the good life. The beauty of this book is it takes something abstract like learning how to cook or learning how to swim or learning how to memorize massive amounts of vocabulary or a deck of cards or whatever. And it takes that abstract idea and it deconstructs it and shows you exactly what it looks like to know how to cook or to know how to swim or to know how to memorize. So it deconstructs the idea. From this deconstruction, it turns it into a pool of skills. For example, how do you saute? How do you know when the meat is at the correct temperature? How do you pair flavors? Things like that. From this pool, you'll select which skills are important and which are going to give you the biggest wins for the least amount of effort. Then you have to sequence. You have to ask the question, which order am I going to learn these skills? Lastly, after you've deconstructed the idea into a set of skills, chosen which skills are the most important, and then defined an order on which to learn the skills, you ask the question, how do I hold myself accountable for learning this? He gives multiple examples in the book outside of cooking, and then he takes you through the path of cooking so that you can see how exactly it works. This book is much more about learning than it is about becoming a chef. Of the 3, it's the simplest to understand, and it's probably the most applicable. But my one critique is that there is so much in here. It's a big book with a lot of information. You're gonna have to go through it a couple times really to get the most out of it. There's another person out there. It's kind of awkward talking to yourself in a room by yourself, looking at a fern behind you. That is what I'm looking at, and talking. I look like I'm talking to my plants. Okay, here we go. Book number 2 you've probably never heard of if you're not a teacher or in the field of curriculum design. But it's extremely useful if you're ever in the position where you have to design a program to get people from point A to point B in a learning process. Whether that's an instructional designer or a salsa teacher or a program director, it has a lot of very practical information and is a very detailed resource. And the book is called Understanding by Design, and it is by Grant Wiggins and Jay McTighe. I don't know how to say his name. But the biggest concept in the book is how to begin with the end in mind. How do you design a learning experience backwards, starting with the goal in mind and making sure that your learners are getting there? It shows you how to break down learning targets into skills and knowledge. And then it asks you to revisit these skills and this knowledge and justify its utility. Why is it important that your learners know this? Next, it asks you to organize these skills and knowledge into learning experiences for your learners. Finally, it asks you, how are you measuring to make sure that your learners are gaining from your learning experiences? This book is dense. It's definitely the most dense of the three, and it's the least readable. And you might think, I'm not a teacher, I don't need this. But again, if you're ever creating learning experiences for people, it's an extremely useful resource to get you to think differently about how to create that experience. Holy marijuana, I look high. I swear to God I don't smoke pot. It's allergy season, folks. Welcome to Colorado. So, the 4-Hour Chef shows you how to get started and how to really jump into the process. Understanding by Design shows you how to design the program if you're creating it for other people. The next book we're going to look at shows you how to continually become better until you're literally the best in the world at what you're doing. And that book is The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. The focus of this book is how do you break down the learning process so that you're continually becoming better. This book is great for someone who wants to practice things that they already know how to do. There's so many amazing stories in this book, and I haven't fully unpacked it because there's so much richness in there. But what this book provides that you won't see in any of the other ones is a clear path on how to understand insights in learning. And not only understand it, but plan for it. So think of an insight as a learning jump, that light bulb moment where things just start to make sense. This skyrockets the learning process. Learning is not linear. It's a crazy jump and then nothing and I'm kind of falling off and then jump. His argument is that we can plan for this and we can really understand when these insights happen so that we reach massive results in a shorter time period. Just a note on the author, this is coming from the chess prodigy that was focused on in the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer, and also a national champion, Tai Chi push hands, black belt jiu-jitsu. The guy's amazing. He becomes the best at what he does. There's lots of other insights in the book, including something he calls making smaller circles, which is kind of turning very difficult things into subconscious processes so we can focus on other new difficult processes. As I said before, there's lots to unpack, and I find myself rereading and rereading this book. So you're probably not going to get it the first time. Maybe you will if you're much smarter than I am. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that was somewhat intelligible. Please like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. That's how more people get to see these videos. All for now, much love, peace, and keep learning. Oh, shit, I farted. Damn it. I'm gonna laugh if the mic picks that up. Oh, God.